cold. I got a jacket. I just didn't feel like riding with my jacket on. Yep. What's happening, folks? It's Friday. Thank God for small miracles, huh? It's Friday. It's 19 degrees. And I get a whole weekend. Yay. All right, somebody liked me already. That must be Ashley. Hey, Ashley, are you there? I'm guessing it's probably her. She's usually the only one that likes my channel. I can always count on. Oh, it's Mr. Utters. What's up, Mr. Utters? How we doing this evening? But actually, it's the middle of the afternoon for you. I got the mud trots. Oh no! You been eating the Taco Loco? Or is the water in California that bad? I'm just busting your chops, man. What's up? Dude, I'm so freaking upset today. So, my day started off fine. I went through my normal work day. So, this morning in the meeting, they said, well, you're going to have two vehicles that are going to have to go today. And I was like, okay, so what time are they coming over? They were like 1 o'clock. And I was like, shit. Now, we're working on police cars. I can't disclose what department they're for or what precinct or whatever. They're actually going all over the country, but they're police cars, and they're made in these Volkswagen Atlas SUVs. I imagine the company they're going to, I think, leases them out to different organizations, so there's no telling where they're going to end up. But anyway, there goes Mr. Lebowski. I'm prepping for the Super Bowl. Who cares? I don't care about no Super Bowl. You want to play a Super Bowl and a football game, play it in the elements that it's designed to play in. You know what I mean? Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so they bring me one of them at like 1 o'clock, right? So I start getting into it, and I had to move it, so I noticed it had all these like check engine lights and shit, right? So I'm like, well, fuck, what do you want me to do? So I went ahead and run it. You got to run these things through a voltage drop test with all the lights and shit on, right? So I went ahead and started doing my voltage test, and like, I got done. Usually what happens is I do a voltage test, I take my photos, and then I have to take them for a 10-mile trip just to test drive them, right? So they say, well, this one's not ready to go, on the 10-mile trip, right? So I say, okay, whatever. So I've got another one that came over about 20 minutes after I started the voltage drop test on the one I was working on. And so I started getting into that. Well, they decided to take it around the block, and when they did, all the lights went off, like all the warning lights and shit. I mean, it had ABS and StabiliTrak and like all these different things going on with it. So they were like, oh yeah, so I got like 3/4 into the other one, and they decided that one was okay. So I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and finish this one up. So I finished up the one I was working on, and then I took the other one back out for the 10-mile trip. And I got like 5 miles away, right? You're just going to promote the channel. Oh yeah, hey, you guys remember now, there's a Mr. Utters out there, Mr. Magameat Utters. He's one of my moderators. He's on here right now. You guys make sure you give him a shout out, a subscribe, and a like, okay? Please. I don't know how many people are going to watch this. I think my last video I got like 300 views on, but we'll see. Anyway, so I take this truck out, this SUV out, right? And I've got a route that I use. It's a 10-mile route. I got 5 miles down the road, and the engine like sputtered on me, and I was like, holy shit, what's going on with this thing? And so I stopped to text my boss man and let him know, and I sent him a picture of the dash, and it had all these, it was lit up like a Christmas tree anyway, orange and red everywhere. So Uh, so I started to go. I put it back in gear and started to go. Well, I had to damn near press the gas pedal all the way to the floor to get this son of a bitch to move, right? And I'm thinking to myself on the way back, man, this thing is going to break down. It's going to break down. So I get back and I pull it in the shop. And I guess the technology is these days, if you have a bunch of sensors or things like that pick up problems, it goes into what they call a limp mode, right? So that one there, they're gonna have to send it to the dealership. Now this is a brand. I've got to turn this off because if I don't, I'll get in trouble. So so I get to they're talking about taking it to the dealership, and they hope something's under warranty after we've already worked on it, right? So, and this thing's only got 26 miles on it now, or wait a minute, 30 miles, I'm sorry. The other one had 26 by the time I got done. And so they're talking about taking it to the shop because now the transmission won't come out of limp mode. And I think that's designed so that if people are stupid enough to drive those things like I am, of course, I really kind of had no choice. I was 5 miles away from the shop, and I was wanting to get home sometime today. I didn't want to have to park that son of a bitch right there and then walk home or walk back to the shop. That'd have been a 5-mile walk, right? So, dude, it's been a day. And then, like, earlier this week, now I'm going to switch subject. I'm switching gears here. So earlier this week, I get a notification, right, that there was a withdrawal from my bank account from my insurance company that was almost double what it usually is, right? So I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here? I thought maybe it was like just the beginning of the year renewal, you know, like I pay every 6 months, but I put a certain amount down and then I pay the rest, you know, over a period of time. So, and of course that's required. You have to have insurance to drive a car in Missouri. I think that's like nationwide now. But anyway, so I called my insurance guy today and I'm like, hey man, you know, I looked back like 3 years and the payment was always the same. It was always around like $265 or something like that on my payments. And I'm like, why is this one different? You know, did they like restructure the area, or, you know, did like the insurance rates go up or whatever? So it went up like $125 more than I'm used to paying, $135 or something like that. So I'm really pissed off at this point. He's like, yeah, you know, unfortunately they recalculated their lines and you fall in an area where they had to make price increases and blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, he put me with he said, well, we can go ahead and cancel that one and put you with a different one. I was like, okay, well, let's do that. You know, plus I hate Farmers Insurance anyway. I'm pissed off at Farmers because some shit they pulled last summer with my house, right? So so he put me with Progressive. I don't really like Progressive Insurance. I mean, Flo's a nice lady and all that stuff, but I'm not really interested in Flo, and I'm definitely not interested in having Progressive Insurance. I've got to do some checking on my own to see if I can get something different, right? So let's see, you got Allstate. Yeah, I was thinking about going with Allstate. I've had them before, and I never had any problems with them. Insurance is a pyramid. You right, damn right it is. And you know, the thing about it is that the insurance companies can actually, you know, charge you whatever they want, basically, not really because of statistics, or not really because of the, you know, the risk that they take in putting insurance on your vehicles or your house in a certain area, is because a lot of places, you know, or I guess mostly nationwide now, you have to have insurance on the car to be able to drive it, even if it's just a straight liability. And if you have a brand new car like I do, I've got two that I'm paying for, then you got to pay like a full coverage fee, right? And of course I like to try to get a fairly decent deductible. I think it's like $1,000 or something like that. It might be $1,400, but anyway, so I don't know, you know, it's like the fucking insurance companies are nothing but a fucking ripoff. You know, you got 25 million people, you know, just as throwing out a number, you got 25 million people paying, you know, $250 a month. Man, that's some buku money. You know what I mean? That's in like the trillions almost, or 100 billion at least anyway. So, and you guys will have to excuse me because I'm all wound up and I'm pissed off, and at the insurance companies and shit. And I don't understand what it is about. I know people want to get rich and things like that, but why is it at the expense of something that we have to have, like insurance? You know what I mean? And then it's fucking maniacal the way that the government doesn't do anything like insurance regulations and shit. And they want to talk about health insurance being unaffordable. Well, Jesus Christ, how are people affording to drive? You know what I mean? You're already paying a $700 a month or $500 to $700 a month payment for a vehicle, and then they're going to turn around and stick you with another $400 a month for a fucking dude. That's half a car payment. You know what I mean? Or a little over. Hey, what the fuck's the deal, really? So hey, Mr. Trump up there in the White House, the guy that runs the country, Mr. Donald J. Trump, how about looking into this insurance thing to make sure that our insurance companies here in America aren't fucking people without Vaseline in order to fucking rape them of everything they have money-wise. Because this is bullshit that we have to pay this fucking much for insurance, for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And you seem to be the man that likes to get shit done. So how about getting it done? Look into these fucking insurance companies that are just breaking people over the coals, and breaking their fucking bank accounts because they're so fucking greedy. They want all the money they can get because we have to have it. Please. Thank you. All right, enough of that. So anyway, dude, I'm fucking wound up. That's all I got to say about that. Now, I wanted to get off at 2:30 today, and of course, as you can see, it's now 4:27, 4:30, something like that, and I'm just now on my way home, so I'm not real happy right now. Of course, now I do have a pretty nice evening, I guess, planned with my significant other, my better half, my love of my life, my best friend, compadre, and fiance. So we're planning on going to get a little bit of something to eat, and then Melania's movie came out today, so we're going to go see Melania Trump's movie. So that ought to be pretty interesting. This is like behind the scenes stuff, we don't get to see on a normal basis. Okay, amen, Mr. the Mouse. That's right. Let's see, men to get extra cat. Right, they do. They rape us, and there's no reason. As many people that pay into these insurance funds, I understand that, replacing vehicles or fixing damages are expensive, but Jesus Christ, don't make me pay for some kid that went out and bought a fucking 5.0 Mustang and decided he wanted to go out and fucking wreck it. That's not my fault. I shouldn't have to pay for that. And that's the way these fucking insurance companies are set up. I don't know if you guys remember, like back in the 80s, everything was a little bit less expensive. I remember I was with a company called Intagon Insurance, and I paid, I think, like $99 a month for insurance. And I had an older car, but even with a newer car, it was like $260 a month for a newer car, full coverage, and that was back then. And they were like, everybody was like, oh yeah, once you get 25, man, you have a good driving record, your insurance rates will go down and blah, blah, blah. Bull fucking shit. I'm 56 years old and I'm still paying what I paid when I was a fucking teenager, a new driver on the road. I can only imagine what new drivers are paying now. And I'm glad I didn't grow up in this era, because I'm telling you what, dude, that's got to be expensive, because that inexperienced driver thing that all insurance, oh, you're an inexperienced driver, so we have to charge you 4 times as much. That's bullshit. Everybody that gets in a car takes a risk every single day. You're not only with your own car and your attention span, but the cars and the attention spans of people around you. And I drive the interstate twice a day, 20 miles. Okay, I'm on the interstate 20 miles each way every day. I drive like 48 miles or something like that. All interstate driving, or not all of it, but 90% of it. So I see people all the time cutting people off. I see people talking on their fucking cell phones. you know, and I'm going into work in the morning, I'm already doing 75, and there's motherfuckers passing me like I'm only doing 10. You know what I mean? And these are the people that are, you know, should be waking up, you know, 15 minutes earlier in their day. Damn insurance will host your calls just for the color of the money. You're right, or color of your car. Yeah, exactly. You know, red cars, they charge like 40% more for insurance for a red car than they do for a yellow car. Just for instance, I don't know the other color, but I know for a fact that red cars, for some reason, are more expensive. I guess because they're, you know, flashy, and you know, everybody wants to jump on a red car when they see it. Oh man, let's race him, whatever. But you know, you got these motherfuckers out here that fly by me like I'm sitting still on the fucking interstate in the morning, and that's the insurance. Those are the people that are wrecking cars, and I'm paying their fucking insurance. You know, it's basically the same thing. Like, you know, with all these fucking wars and shit going on all over the world, you know, I'm left to pay. You know, my tax money goes to support these people. You know, Ukraine and fucking Taiwan and Malaysia and fucking El Salvador and all these fucking, you know, nations outside of my own. And we got people in our own fucking country that are having a hard time and struggling to live. Dude, I'm making like 4 times, well, actually even more than that. I'm probably making, let's see, when I was in high school, I had a job. I was making $4.50 an hour working at fucking Burger King, busting my ass for like 6 hours a day after school. I would go to school in the morning, I'd go to work at Burger King, I'd work 6 hours, I'd go home, I'd go to bed and do it all over again the next day. Okay, $4.50 an hour. I'm making 8 times that money now, right? And I still can't fucking afford to live with a house payment, a car payment, insurance, medical bills, you know, fuel, food, everything that goes along with it. Now, I understand that over the years, you know, that your expenses go up. Your cost of living is going to go up and things like that. But Jesus Christ, dude, I've paid my fucking dues. I've worked my ass off to get to where I am. And then these motherfuckers want to walk around talking about, oh, you got white privilege. Fuck you. I've worked for every fucking thing I've ever had my whole life. And now so hard for because the government, the fucking government, and it's because all them greedy bastards up there in Washington, they go in making what, 6-figure incomes, and they come out fucking billionaires. And I hope they're giving them the Vaseline too, because if they're not, then that money sure as hell ain't worth it, because they're screwing all of us too. Jesus fucking Christ, Joseph and Mary and the 12 fucking disciples, what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's fucking bullshit what we have to live through these days. But anyway, so me and Dee, my better half, are going to go see Melania this evening. There's some movie, I guess it's behind, and these kids just take it for, of course they do. Kids don't know what it's like to have to survive in life. Dude, I grew up, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I didn't grow up like every other family. I came from a broken family, from a drug-addicted mom who abused me physically as a child. I was taken and put into custody of the Department of Social Services, and sometimes the foster homes that I was in were worse than where I came from, right? So then I ended up in children's homes. And then when I got to be a teenager, they finally my mom finally went through, you know, these anger management classes and got clean and all that bullshit. And then I ended up as a teenager going into rehab because my mom thought because she was addicted to drugs, so was I. Now, you know, take for granted I did smoke a little pot and I drank a little beer when I was a kid or a teenager, but I wasn't what you would, you know, be like consider an addict. It's not like I had to have it like my mom did, you know. And then she got all high and mighty after that, and I ended up leaving home when I was 17 and wound up in another fucking children's home. And everything that I've ever accomplished is because I set goals for myself. And then you got these kids that fucking have no idea what it's like to be treated unfairly or have to go through the bullshit that I went through. I'm a survivor, you know what I mean? And these kids have everything fucking handed to them today. Now, I don't envy them at all, because you know what? I got the lessons in life that they didn't get. I got the hard knocks. I got the, going to people for help and getting the word no. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the word no over the years. I was abused in foster homes in more ways than one. You know what I mean? I've been there, done that. And these kids today have no idea. They just think they can play video games and live in grandma's basement until they're 50 years old. And that's how life's supposed to be, when in actuality it's not. And so everything that I've accomplished in life hasn't come from everybody else's expense. It's come from my expense and my experience and things that I've had to go through. You know what I mean? It's really a terrible thing when you think about it. But I learned a lot of things through life. I learned the psychology of what it takes to get through. And then, people are like, they have no idea. They have no idea what kind of a person I am inside, what I've been through, what my experience is. And they just think that, oh, well, we can just talk to Jim any old way. Or, Jim doesn't know what's going on in the world. Jim's very aware of what goes on in the world, because I was one of those kids that had to fight and scratch and kick for everything I ever wanted or everything I ever had. And I'm still having to do the same shit, and I'm 56 fucking years old. You know what I mean? I've been on my job for 10 years. I've never in my life have I been on a job that long. I had multiple jobs when I was a teenager, and in my early 20s, my mom was always like, well, hey, Jim, why do you have so many jobs? Well, Mom, if I'm not good at everything, I can't be good at anything. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. You got to find what you're good at. I went back to college at fucking 41 years old. I went back to college to get a fucking associate's degree in electrical mechanical technology. And you know what? The job that I have, I don't even use my fucking degree. It's a worthless piece of paper. And I paid, what, $30,000 for that fucking bullshit? As a matter of fact, I'm still paying for it. I had to take out a mortgage on my house in order to pay off student loans and some debt that I had. And I'm still paying for that all these years later. Now, it's, it doesn't seem like it because it's all wrapped up in one payment, because I'm paying for my house. Let me tell you, when my mom passed away, the one thing that I did that was probably the smallest thing I ever did is I bought a house. I paid cash for it. I looked at like 5 or 6 different houses. I found the one I wanted. I paid $65,000 cash money. They wanted $72,000 for it. I said, no, I'm not paying that much for it. But, the world works a lot different when you got money to talk with. So I gave them $65,000 cash. I lived like that for, I bought that house in 2012. I got myself in a bunch of debt, student loans and bullshit like that by the time 2017, I think, rolled around. So I ended up having to put my house on the hock in order to pay off a bunch of bills and shit that I had, credit cards, and because I just thought I was king shit. I finished college, man. I got a good job doing electrical work, but even that wasn't that solid. You know what I mean? It's really amazing to me the expense that people have to go to in order to achieve anything in their life, to accomplish anything, to make goals and set goals for themselves and accomplish it, because the government and society makes it so freaking hard. You know what I mean? And you got these motherfuckers up here, fucking protesting and setting things on fire and destroying shit. And they have no idea what it's like to struggle as much as I have in my life. You know what I mean? And they don't want to work for nothing. They want everything fucking handed to them. And that's what they think they'll show their ass like a fucking teenage kid. Yep, group homes are, yeah, they are. They're shit. They fucking stick you in there with a bunch of people you don't know, a bunch of kids you don't know. Then they put you in a school that you don't know anybody in, and and then they move you around. So, you might stay in one place 6 months or so, and then 6 months later, you're having to do the same process all over again. Yep, been there, done that. You know what I mean? And that's why it's such a struggle for anybody to make it these days, because first of all, people don't have the experience that it takes, or the self-awareness, or the ability to set goals and accomplish them, or work on themselves. You know what I mean? They don't want to, because it's too hard to do that. It's easier for them to live sticking this out like this to the government or whoever else is willing to give them that, grandma living in their fucking basement, let grandma support them, and then, you know, grandma dies and they get a bunch of money and then they fucking run through it because they can, you know what I mean? And then 5 years down the road, you know, because they don't know how to manage money and shit like that, and they're back in the same situation, living in fucking mom and dad's basement. You know what I mean? It's a vicious cycle, and that's the way it's fucking designed to work. You know what I mean? You are bought and paid for the day that you are born. Everything that you do in your life, you have to pay for. It doesn't matter if you're paying physically. It doesn't matter if you're paying with money. It doesn't matter if you're paying emotionally. It doesn't matter if you're paying, you know, through the struggles and shit that you have to go through. Everybody pays for something one way or the other. It doesn't matter how you do it. The fact that matters is that you are doing it. But, you know, these people today, they don't want to do that shit. You know, and then they want to whine and bitch because the people that are here illegally, that are having everything fucking handed to them, you know, on a silver platter, and they didn't deserve it. They didn't work for it. All they have to do is be, you know, from another place, illegally or legally, and they can get anything they want. You know what I mean? And here, us American people, we're having to work hard and pay taxes in order to support them. And what good is that? You know, it's fucking bullshit. It's what it is. Boy, I'm just on myself today. Let's see here. There's an elementary school that just got out and they're protesting ICE. Wonder where the tax dollars or tax money went to fund the kids for doing that. Of course, these kids, dude, they are so fucking brainwashed these days. You know what I mean? The social justice warrior bullshit, these kids are being indoctrinated. And that's a plan, because they want everybody to depend on the government. That's what it all amounts to. They don't, you know, they've already broken up and destroyed the family unit. All right, if you look at a lot of homes now, you know, like back in the 60s and 70s, you know, mom always stayed home and took care of the house, right? And then dad would go out and work. Things were affordable, and, you know, mom didn't have to work. She could stay at home, take care of the kids, clean the house, you know, feed the kids, wash clothes, make the beds, you know, whatever, right? So then, like, the first part of the 80s, mom's, you know, things started to get expensive because, of course, you know, inflation was rolling along and things like that. And then mom started having to work. So, you know, the kids were left at home alone a lot of times. You know what I mean? So, and then as you get into, like, you know, the mid 80s, well, of course, you had a lot of people out doing drugs and shit too. So then you had dads who ended up being addicted to drugs, and then, you know, mom and dad would split up, and then kids were, you know, being brought up by their moms in single family homes and shit like that. And, you know, you don't have the family units that you had back when I was a kid. Well, I didn't really have a family unit because, of course, you know, I grew up the way I did, but there were a lot of families, you know, that were tight knit. Now you can't have a family anymore unless you can afford a family. You know what I mean? You have to plan. You have to make at least $75 or $75,000 a year in order to support a family. You know, and back when I was a kid, you know, my mom, I think she was a waitress. And, you know, when I did live at home for a while, and my mom made like $2.35 an hour or something like that. I think that was like minimum wage for waitresses back then. I may be wrong. It may have been $1.75 to $2.35. I don't remember. But, you know, she depended on her tips. You know what I mean? And hell, she struggled. I mean, we ate things like, you know, Spam and macaroni and cheese and liver and mashed potatoes and fucking just, you know, bullshit. Hey, Ashley, what's happening? I'm on a roll today, Ashley. I've been really I'm just on a roll today, and I'm full of myself, and I've been bitching and whining all the way home today. You just woke up. It must be nice to be able to just wake up. Did you, how did your surgery go? Did it go okay? Did they take out the parts they needed to and leave what needed to be there? Oh boy. Anyway, I'm getting ready to get off here. I've been on 30 minutes, and you know me, I'm only usually on for 30 minutes. So I hate you missed me. Ashley, I may give you a call later. I need to talk to you about Skylar. I haven't heard from Skylar in a few days, and I'm a little concerned with that. I'm not sure what's going on. If she's, it seems like ever since I talked to her, I guess she had me on speakerphone. I was talking to her, and maybe she's not allowed to talk to me anymore. I don't know, but I'm a little concerned about that. But anyway, yeah, I'll give you a call after a while, I guess. Well, I can't tonight, baby. I got a movie. Me and Dee are going to see the Melania Trump movie tonight. So I may not be able to speak with you tonight, but yeah, go back and watch my video. And for those of you who have come in and gone, if you're coming in and you haven't watched the video, just go back to the beginning and you'll see what I was whining about today. I usually don't, lose it like that, but I mean, when you have a day like I've had today, you sometimes you just have to blow up. And well, I didn't blow up, but I did. I'd said some things that I needed to say and got some things off my chest. Anyway, I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday around the same time of day. I may sneak in and do a video tomorrow or Sunday. I did notice that I've gotten some good response from some of the short videos that I've posted, and also some of the long videos I posted. I really appreciate you guys coming in and liking my content. That means a lot to me. I don't get paid to do this, and I really don't care to get paid. I just, I do this for my own benefit and just to see what kind of response I get. But anyway, you guys take it easy. Have a good Friday night, a good weekend. Ashley, I'll talk to you later. I love you, and I'm out of here. Bye.